Hi there, it's Trevor Davis from our Father's House in New Zealand, coming to you on our subject of faith. I just maybe make a comment here before we start today. It might be helpful for you. But if you would like to just respond to some of these snippets, either by an email or putting a comment and sending that on to us, that would be helpful. Appreciate any comments and feedback that we can have from it. You may also have a topic that you might like to have some teaching on. I'm happy to do some preparation around that if you'd send that to us as well. And then we can take it, we can capture that and release that as a snippet so that others can benefit from the same topic that maybe you're trying to get some answers to, or maybe that you're discussing with others but you're not getting a satisfactory conclusion. So send it in and let's have a look at that for you. So today we want to continue with the aspect of faith, and that's putting our faith into action. We looked here about James telling us that faith is dead. If there's no works to our faith, then it is dead. So you and I can talk about faith forever and ever and ever, and you'll often hear about comments where people say, I live by faith. But seemingly they do nothing, and what they're really doing is saying, I live by faith, so I'm depending on everybody to come and bring me what I need. See, that's not faith. Faith is actually putting some action to what you believe. And if one's come into that framework and they help to provide for what you need, it's because you are taking some action here. It's not a sit down and a passive kind of a situation. I have faith, that means I have conviction. I have conviction, that means I believe what I believe. And because I believe what I believe, I'm actually going to start a journey to bring that into reality and into my life. Look, it could be as small. I remember back in my earlier days when I was faith was always a challenge to me. This is a bit of natural faith, but you might just think about it in its context. Probably every year or every couple of years, I tried to upgrade a car that we had for no other reason than to improve and to better myself and to keep something that's more relevant, up to date, lower mileage, whatever that is. So that's kind of natural faith, but it is nevertheless as faith. In other words, can we do it? No, we can't afford to do that. Well, okay, this year we are going to do something about that, and we're going to walk towards that and bring it into reality. So it would go into place. And so we would every year or every 2 years, whatever it was, we would then replace the car. That can be the same in any of our lives. I do remember an occasion when we were starting out in ministry, and I was doing a bit of real estate at the time, and that was really to provide some income for us. And that enabled us to have the freedom and the time that we needed to be able to do preparation for teaching and for training and for doing Sunday meetings. I remember a time there that we really desired to have our own house. We'd moved into a city from a country town, as it were, and it was kind of how do you get established in all of this. And we were working with developing people, discipling, doing Sunday meetings, and it was growing and building its own momentum. And I remember thinking about, because I was in real estate, we just want to have our own house. We'd had one previously, and this is what we wanted. One night God spoke to me, and this was His word. This was His specific word, which gave me not just faith, but helped me in relation to what I was going to do. And the word was, if you build my house, I will build yours. That comes out of the time of David wanting to build the house of God and so on. So you build my house and I will build yours. So immediately I just put down the aspect of striving after this, doing something about it in the sense of that's what I'm going to work for in total. And I started building the house of God. We gave ourselves, the people grew, people developed, the church grew, and it went on from strength to strength to strength. Now, in the context of doing that all, I had a friend that came to me one day in real estate, and he said to me, there's a house that's just come on the market. I'd like you to have a look at it. We had a look at that, went and saw it, and I thought, well, yes, that's great. It's beyond us from a financial perspective. Can we do it? Can't we do it? And this guy was a Christian, a great mentor, great help, really. And he said, no, let's not just think about that. Let's not think about the price of it at this stage. Let's just see where this goes. Well, what happened is that house was a brand new house. It was a great house, beautiful house. And that's what made us think, we could never manage this. And what happened, it was a couple that were building it. And unfortunately for them, they decided when it was nearly finished that they weren't going to continue in their marriage. So they split up. That meant that the house came on the market. It was probably at a reduced figure because it was part of the asset that needed to be sold up. And so the price came down to something that was more affordable or manageable for us. So we went and did the appropriate, had the deposit, and went to the bank, went to find the finances for that, and we secured it. And that to us was a bit of a faith journey, but it was a faith lesson. If you're doing what God requires, then He looks after what it is that we need. That's the application. Do the works. The works will bring in to being what needs to be done. So it's just a kind of a thought here in relation to these things that we apply in a practical way of living every day. And as you're progressing and all of that, you see others that have needs, feel free. Extend yourself. There's no limitation in God. There's no limitation from His Word. There's no limitation in faith. There's no limitation in resources. There's no limitation in finances. It's only what we perceive it to be, and we allow those to become blockages to prevent us from moving and doing something with what we believe. So I want to encourage you in that today. There's one or two scriptures here to have a look at to see what they did in relation to their faith. And true faith is putting belief into action. There's a scripture in Matthew 9 that says, and Jesus turned about. This is the woman who reached out to touch His garment. You might remember the story. She had an issue of blood for years, and she knew, if only I could get to Jesus, this would go away. So she pushed through the crowd. In pushing through it, she touched the garment of Jesus. So what was the action? The action was she knew that if she could get to Jesus and touch even His garments, she knew she would be whole. So what did she do? That's exactly what she did. And then Jesus turned to her, who touched me? He said, who touched me? Right? And then it says, and then Jesus turned to him and said to her, daughter, be of courage. Your faith have made you whole. What was her faith? Her faith was proven that she believed that Jesus would heal her. She believed that without a doubt. All that she needed to do was to get herself. If only I can touch Him. See? And then she did all she could. Push the crowd, push the people away to make room for herself. And that's what she did. She reached out. There's the blind man in Matthew chapter 9. And here Jesus went to the blind man's house. And He said to him, believe ye that I am able to do this? It was about his healing. He wanted his sight. And he said, oh yes, sir, I believe that you can. I believe that you can. I believe that you're able. And then he touched his eyes, saying, according to your faith, according to your belief, according to your persuasion here that I can do it, it will be done. So according to his faith. And his eyes were open. Jesus charged them, saying, see that no man know it, and so on. And then you go down a little further and you come with a woman who had a daughter who had a demon. She was at home actually, and she came to Jesus, who was talking to him. It's in Matthew 15. So behold, the woman came to Canaan, came out of the coasts, and cried unto him, saying, have mercy upon me, O son of David, for my daughter is vexed. That means it's an aggravated. She's irritated. She's all the time something's driving her here. She's vexed with the devil. Come and help me here. And so we see here that as he did, the disciple says, send her away. So he pushed her away. This is a trial on her faith, if you like. For she cries after us. And he answered and he said, but I'm not sent to the lost sheep. I'm not sent but to the lost sheep of Israel. Now Jesus is turning her away. No, I'm not. I've not come here for you. I've come here for Israel. And then she came and she worshipped and said, Lord, help me. He cried out unto him. And he answered and said, it is not right. Healing is the children's bread, and to cast it out to the dogs. And he said, true, Lord, but yet the dogs get the crumbs that fall from the table. And Jesus said, oh my goodness, O woman of great faith, be it unto you as you will. And the daughter was made whole. Jesus hadn't seen such faith like that. This woman, though she was not within the categories that we like to sometimes put people, she pushed through. She pushed through the rejection of the disciples. She pushed through the denial of Christ until she could receive by faith the healing that she required. Well, that's for you and me today. So what do we require from the Lord? What's our desire? What do we need to know and to receive of God? What can we do to reach out? What can we do to put into being? What can we do to see this come to pass in our own life? I just encourage you, take the word of faith, built from the word of God. Reach out to reach him. Don't look at your means or your lack of it. Don't look at your ability or your lack of it. Just look to God. He owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. All things are his. We just got to rest in him. But we've got to work with him. And the working of our faith produces the outcome. So God bless you as you consider these few thoughts today. Just click on the subscribe button if you would, and let you know when the next step is on its way. God bless you. You have a great day. Pass this on and share it with somebody else. Bye.